Hey, good Thursday night to everybody. This is Kenyon from the Heavy Metal Hideaway. I promised you a segment on something that we have come to know in the bodybuilding profession, in the hobby of bodybuilding, those that are serious, called the mind-muscle connection. And you might think that every movement is kind of a given movement. When you're doing curls, it just comes automatic. You just start doing curls, and when you get to 20 or 10 or 15 or whatever your rep count is supposed to be, you're done. You put the weight down, you rest for a minute and a half, and then back up to your next set. And that's not exactly the way it goes, and it's certainly not the best way for muscle growth. Your mind is so complex, your nervous system is so complex that you can literally control every single muscle in your body, some 226 or 228 of them, you can control with your mind. And you can almost do it individually. And that's the level of awareness and the level of skill that we try to develop when we get serious about bodybuilding. Okay, so what does that mean? So I use the example of a curl, and I'm just going to pick up a curl bar real quick here and just say that it's real easy to stand here with a curl bar, whether it's a straight curl bar like this one or an easy curl bar, and just pump out a lot of sets, right? Super easy. You're just pumping out the sets. You're going to get to 15 and that's it. But that's not what we're talking about with the mind-muscle connection. The mind-muscle connection means that you have a thought process through the entire movement of which muscle you are contracting, and you contract it purposefully and individually with your mind. So when you bring the muscle up, or when you bring the weight up, you do your curl and very carefully squeeze at the top, bring it down nice and slow for a good eccentric movement. Again, very carefully, and you want to make sure that a thought goes into every contraction, every concentric, eccentric motion of the muscle. Your mind is controlling the way down and the way up. Same is true if you're doing reverse curls. Every movement is well thought out. Every contraction and every negative is purposeful and controlled by your mind. All right? Real easy, right? Okay, so basically every exercise should be done this way. That's how you get good muscle growth, and that's how you really concentrate on what you're doing. You concentrate on the angles. Sometimes I say, well, angles have a lot to do with which muscle you're working out. Of course, if you've got a cable and you're pulling up like this, that angle is going to affect the upper chest. If you got a cable up here and you're pulling down, it's going to affect much more the lower chest, depending on the angle that you're doing it. But once again, mind-muscle connection, I'm going to use this hand weight as an example. If this is the handle that's attached to the cable, you bring it across, focus, squeeze, purposefully squeeze, and then bring it back. And again, purposefully squeeze. You're contracting the muscle very purposefully, and then you bring it back nice and slow. You switch. You always want to do to one side what you do to the other, because if you don't, you're going to wind up crooked. That's what I tell my clients. But certainly one side will wind up stronger or weaker than the other. But very purposefully squeeze and bring the cable back, all right? Once again, using this as a handle on a cable, just as an example. All right, so that's the mind-muscle connection. Every single exercise I do, hyperextensions, especially so, like with legs, I make sure I hit my legs at least once or twice a week. Hyperextensions, sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 times a week. And when you come up into the full concentric motion of the hyperextension, you're all the way up on the hyperextension bench, you squeeze. You purposefully use your mind to squeeze your glutes, tighten them up like you're making a muscle, and then slowly let yourself down. Every single exercise should be done that way, and that will get you the most muscle growth. All right? Use your mind, connect to your muscles, and you will have a much better workout and get much better results. Thank you, and have a good night.